Panden Zave Lama Rimbo Dagi Ingran Bime Densho La Gaden Chenpe Shoda Temo Ngwedo Zedo Se Panden Zave Lama Rimbo Dagi Ingran Bime Densho La Gaden Chenpe Chanjo Yinglu Bado Tenpa Anjo Masan Jume Shera Paraje Maje Manga Namge Owo Sozo Rari Yije Juyo Tuzon Yebe Sanze Lo Teya Ta Gade Para Samgade Bodeye So Dea ta gade para samgade bodeye so dea ta gade para samgade bodeye so gere tongda jajo chewa da medene ve kedam jawa da temba sojo ne
Ashi tija de le
jo sa she me je jo she me do do ya ri ya ro ya le je yeah, no more. Lo ye lo che mo yo ye dong gu ru ra na ma de la ma ni ya ta ya
sanje shada
so ye cho nam la jang ju ba do da ni ja so ye da ge shi ju ji be so do la bi je zang ye do ma so
sanje shada
Soje chona la janjo bado dane janzo je dage chujura jibe son. Rola beje sanje rola sho.
sanje shada
Soje chona la janjo bado dane janzo je dage chujura jibe.
Roda Veja Sonje Robo Shio Masu Tangji Nyo Yang the was a commercial machine near Thomas. He said the Tabish saying the good changes and she must said that December hues.
I would like to remind every one of ourselves here to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it bodhicitta motivation, or the altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment or Buddhahood for the sake of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta altruistic motivation, we should participate in this Bodhisattva discourse and practice.
So she do the day, Lindy called the Lindy gave a shit and that told you the Bachevas. Tapano should do the Bacheva, they must hear it.
So last week we talked, quite a bit about the natural law of karma and its outcomes, the results, and different major aspects of the law of karma. And so today we are going to continue to discuss, the need to cultivate dunpa, aspiration, to be able to follow the natural law of karma. In other words, that we aspire to engage in the abandonment and cultivation practice based upon the natural law of karma.
Kala chada neba te chima linju doa she likbar she da neba she teda doye je so danga she so da jero le ja gada mi ge le jide paru de dada dunge juwa rabdu nye she ne dikwa pa de gewe ne la Gewen radio be teva me batane sheda deva che sos o dire che cose da gidin ya en le ngeva da le matre me te le se ba shi me so ganga she da she da te da le de ngeva te bo yiji ya bo che ne en te se wa da long zo chui shin du de ba che ko de ba se da long zo shi che ko sa ni ba Dumbas na muwazi wara, o dita be kas dek maye bu kune chansa in lang linde lang to le ya any la karsa langni ki gores o tis gosare karsa de goya de do langni ki gores sam takba nes kuba yede le kuba se neta yiji teba debo goba shaus seda linde ya da şu diye şey da diye kana linde so be le başı ba de shi ba shi me zawat ene ke kare na le tola do de ta me ya shi ru de do la do me da wa de ye ba ji ene lang do xia de de ba shu che bu che gurista do da den te da.
So those of you who have the same English translation of the Bodhisattva Guide, translated by Stephen Batchelors and published by the Tibetan Library. We are on page 94, and Geshe La's reading of the extensive commentary and explanation pertains to the stanza 46 that reads, "Therefore, I should aspire for virtue and with great respect acquaint myself with it, having undertaken the wholesome in the manner of Vajra Vaja, I should then proceed to acquaint myself with self-confidence," unquote. So as Geshe explained, that in some of the preceding stanzas, or last week, we talked about some of the major aspects of the natural law of karma, such as certainty of karmic action, which means positive karmic actions produce positive results, negative karmic actions produce negative results, and they never get messed up, in the sense that positive karma will bring a negative outcome and vice versa. Okay, that's just impossible in the law of nature. Another major aspect of the karma we talked about is this, that we really need to pay attention to even what we might regard as insignificant positive or negative karma, kind of a minor karma, we might call it. Why? Because of the increasing nature of karma, with passage of time, this insignificant seemingly karma could become a huge karma and produce huge results. Another major aspect of the karma that we want to talk about is this, that if we have not done and accumulated good or bad karmic actions, we will never have to encounter their results. We will never experience their results. Okay? And another major aspect of the karma we already talked about is this, that whatever karmas that we have done and accumulated, good or bad, they simply don't go wasted because of a time factor. It could take eons, but these karmas will produce their results, right? And the exceptions that we talked about are that in the case of good karmas, if they don't get destroyed by crazy anger, right, then they will bring their results, after eons. Or in the case of negative karmas, if you have not purified them, they stay as they are, then they will produce their results. So having talked about all of those aspects of karma, so hopefully, but through contemplation, that we are able to develop conviction in the infallible working of the natural law of karma. And so that kind of a conviction, it helps us to be able to develop the aspiration, dunba, right, to take the law of karma seriously, isn't it? That because, that's how the karma exists and functions, so we are not going to just give a lip service to the karma. I know karma, right? No. We seriously, walk the karma, not just talk the karma, And so that comes through conviction and strong aspiration to follow the natural law of karma. So as Krishna explains, karmas do not simply go wasted because of a long time, that they somehow get rotten on the way and become, invalid karmas. They don't, karmas don't get hijacked by some other people so that you don't ever experience them. No, they don't. Yeah? So this is why, having contemplated these factors, then we should develop strong aspiration to follow the law of karma.
le chamu yang chema shende jisu zhangni deba de mende ba sheba jeba da ngeba temba shene jinu so langdo sha be go de somle kada shada neba ti chema leji roa shi ligba shi de jeba shi teda doye jisu zhang she so da jera leja yada mege le jigde paru te de da dungen zhongwa rabdu ye she ne digba pangde gewe ne la rabdu be teba mewa ta ne shida deva chu che so se o de go je le chamo yin be mege chungju yin ka chungju re sa de ba tangju ma ji she and yawa chungju yin da ko dire de dobro she che me sa dire tangju ma she and gewe le chamo khare ne ko 모반 거 레충중에나 대화 대화 충중에나 대화 지고리 미게 충중에나 등에 지고다 tell you what they was eagerness. But they got this change your so many things on the because can't shut that never is Chimalinji Joyous that Nangala Chapel that Nanga put it the Chimatongas Yomara. In my self put the Chimalan the Chim Lu the Chimakin down in war. This is the Karza Livashiva Nevashiva the just do any just down his order or the lady the Tola Dura Maris. The general ledger, yet the Miguel Jidin part of this, that the Dungan Rab the yes, the Papa de Gaden Rab the Bay, Teba Meotani, should have never just was or did that little easy into it or to that little under three sugars. In Teba Menda was easy, Menda was under three sugar. That's say a little of Shias Yamara. So that I did use it, Lady Nam Yadian, Legavada, the Pisha, the Gondosa, that daddy, dear Ganga to someone to town that leg, telling Yabba the big Kana lay sauce and Yabba, easy demotion, in the long switch in the sugars. You are choosing the Julia, the bigger children in the Boya, or tissue, or that don't dinner.
As Krishna, explained, and in the extensive commentary, they quoted what we call miscellaneous collection of Buddha's discourses in Tibetan symbol called Som. And so in that collection, it stated that we must not underestimate, karma, because it's just insignificant, it seems to be for us, or minor. That could be bad or good karma, because every good and bad karma has the potentiality to produce good and bad results. So therefore, we cannot simply dismiss, because this is just like, so negativity, so who cares? Or this is just like a little teeny-weeny positive, so why we care? No, because however little the karma is, it has the potentiality to produce its outcome. So karmas follow us just like the shadow follows our body. Well, in the collection, they talk about how the birds fly and the shadows follow them. Maybe when the birds are flying in the sky, we don't see their shadows, but when the birds land down on the ground, we can see that the shadow is always there. So like that, karmas always follow us and produce their results. And so as Geshe explained, that we have to study and contemplate the natural law of karma, its major aspects that we talked about, and the infallibility of karma, and so that we are able to develop belief or conviction in its functioning, isn't it? If we find that we are really not seriously following karma, that means we are lacking that conviction and understanding, isn't it? But if we really develop that conviction, those who have that conviction, they really take karma seriously. They don't, how should I say, violate the karmic law, so to speak. And so because our practice of abandonment means abandoning negativities and the wrong actions, and cultivating the right actions or the positive actions is contingent upon that natural law of karma. So developing conviction in that and developing the strong aspiration to follow it is important for our conducting our life and doing our practice. In the Kera Jatakamala, Buddha's life stories of the previous life, previous incarnations, it's also stated that positive karmas produce positive results, negative karma produce negative results, and these are the things we will experience in our future lives. And so therefore, if we want happiness in future lives, we should do the positive actions. If you don't want any suffering and bad things happening in the future lives, don't do the negative things. So this is how we find our karmic practice.
Teta Gedile de Dedu Juan Yena Tata Dikshin Devadam Deva Jela Dungan Juan Noe se Dishina Tade Dedu Mo Ile Yenamila Tata Gedi Kavanshi La Yunga Shima Dedu La Dedu Mandebar Juan Yebe Teta Nangyans Jo me di hidingle Digbele na Shiva Gaya ni Tia Mula Songshi Mijukim Shia Tilapana Lenanji Dribukona Tini Ngombanjur Shiva Taros Tatil Savati would that getting something in a Tadabe because you go out just the Lamdra Mamodu Yonduki. You are to be sure consume Jung the Ninaza Mangaji Kazanari Manga Yundu, the Karesina. And did give me the Tadeka negative Maris, but he gets at that. Get you so laying never in Tadabe long to switching it, be a sasa shooting it, Kazanari Manga, the Yakaji bet Kumaku do judging a Dewaya would be you want to be given to us. Take the laying here a country chagrin. Yema Yema Division Tadenega do Maris, Tijoya Maris, or Tijoya Malcasa, Name League the mother Leg Lamsa Cups one Lanza, Le Shiva Lanza Dumaja Maris. But this was Timika Sindu Hidden Ladies. Big Bell and the Shiva Gaya ne, Tia Mother Songy Music. Cheer to the partner, later you dribble Kala, then a woman, you see what that was, or did it. And she did Big Bill, Shiva, Gaya, debating it. Dear was the debashi started in the best tone, you carved the jitu on a young Ramsa, Joe Yomarisi, Mumadi, in the chair to the partner, and then give a shimmer in it, dribble. Ngombar jogudil nyam nyot dure se ote siwara tiri ta kanje ote ta ti thoba yorba kanje ta da diwasi be consumer jigido je lamdo jubodo shi yongwe yawasi digdi ti kanje be khazanari manga na sa do de tikjenge manga yorba ti kharesne ti le ngame diwe ma ta de le do mari so ti ta gebung do tire do tiri.
So as Krishna read from the extensive commentary and explained that earlier we said that certainty of law of karma means that good actions will produce good results. Better use the word positive actions produce positive and negative actions produce negative results, right? So they're not going to get messed up anywhere at all. So in regard to that aspect of the karma, so a qualm has been kind of raised, or maybe this is how, any of us could feel this way. If that's true, then what is this? We observe that, people who seems to be very sincere, let's say Dharma practitioners, looks like a lot of misfortunes are befalling them. And then the cheaters and the liars seems to have all their field day. They are succeeding like anything. So what's that all about? You said certainty of karma. So how is that? Sincere practitioners are getting sick and all the misfortunes are claiming down on them. And the liars and the cheaters and deceivers are having their like a field day and succeeding. So what's that all about? So in the extended commentary, they said, that is because like what is experienced now is the result of karmas from the past. Because as soon as you do karmas, they are not likely to ripen here and now. It's a process. It takes time, isn't it? As it is stated in a letter to a friend, or Shurulek by Arya Nagarjuna, they said, if you do a negativity right now, it's not that the negativity will ripen right this very moment. And it's not like when you do a karma, it's not like somebody has stabbed you, then you feel the pain, right? Because that's very immediate. Somebody stabbed you. Karma is not like that. It takes time. If we do negativity, it seems fine for a while, but then at the time of death, right, it might ripen, or after death, right, that karma is going to, bring its negative result. And so therefore, we should understand that what we experience, a lot of the things in this life are, could be the results of, or are the results of previous karmic actions done in previous life. And what we are doing now will produce their results accordingly, with time.
네, 제가 대단 얘기 드리면서 제주도는 현두고도 줄베스 예바 줄베스 예바지 시체가와 나나양 등인지 제벌레스 다와카마 제바 네 홍승 동승 르드 총도 제베 사히다 사히라 난게 카는 나바신딘 줄 시조자 최기 메데바에 세색메수 시소스 도데나네 나네 몽도 송바 달시바 셰진 샤신 대한 시바 점레 민조바 이시게데 예바제바 셰드 케셔와 케셔데라 주민지 예바 마니나 슈칸라양가 슈칸라양 제와제베스 예바 미니베 데라 베바 샤고서 어디다 린데디 가자 저수디 신디 고주다디 린데자디 신디 고주 인스마르와 자스고마르다 신을 사회 주다니 가주 사회 신데 들어가가 제바들가가 신디 고주 인스마 제가 레게와 디부데와데 미가 동은 좋아서 고치디 고주 샤고마르데 신다디 데데 신디 고주 인스디 데데 사회 뒤를 자네스고라 어디 데스고라 세다 데즈샤자 띵에디오레 다와카마시도 데데다 다와카마도 살롱야도 르도 총도 자자 깨바 동도잖아 레다 데 투베 다세도 강아 지르로 지르고리시 지르고리 신나데 레기 디부디 시에들 바바 레네 디부당 되는거유 되는거 주레세요 지르고마리시 키와타로 대다 레기 디부 깨지는 신두고 주베세 제가 제대로서 린데 베차이타데 신두고 주레스 제가 락바즈베 고더리뱅이 신차 이제 롱데니 예와시네 그 시가 나나야 세어디 레레 이제야 다 가쇼들이 다고다 고도 다고야 가야 되는 가르거라 나나양세 땡에디죠 다가마제와 남노신 르더 총드지 사실라 남게카네 남바 힌지장 최기 미데바에 책미송 시소도 델스 몽드 송바 달시바 샤신 자 시바 다 민조바 이치제데 예바제바 시디 게체 데라 주민지 예바 마이나 쇼칸나야 자지베 예바 미베 데라 베바 샤고소스 어때서 다 렌데서 드리지레스 베 제당 르르와 차하유 착보도 가르지나 가가 힘차도 베 랑수 디마디 레데가 그 디부 레가레데 두게 가다 데와다 미가 두게 좋아디 카디나 메와 시당로네 메와 레도 요마리스 에티서 에네 레데레 베게바니 구리스 예바니가 가라테 예바니가 상마세바 라네타 구리스 올라글레다니 게 구리스 에티서다 테 레데레 양 예바니 라네야 보다 마도나 에네 추 자와도 촉토아 요마리스와 다 추 강리야 에네 카자 이제게는 예반이 신디 그셰 지도 이제게는 예반이 신디 게체원데라 Chue me jo da lin li ya ge ba te bo me na. Ine te de go da. Chue kan le jo ji be ge ba mi ji be del be sha si. Ta da de chue z ma za de kan de lin de zu ro da. Lin de be jo shi me ton da zam de sang ge li ji bu shu mu she lin de lang ni se ge. Ta de tar ba do ya de shi ji bu ding she de ne. sang je go ta ji ji bu che bu shi de. Ye ga ga de ga se 레제기야 지와 지루도 지마도 그가 당부 고스 레제가 조샤인다 라르쇼나 리어로 다들 기부속이 람샤디 린데 지루 인시 어 티송으로 티서 디 린데 라렌다야 지루 지마도 어디 기부스 추 카르시나 시드잖아 린데 라렌 마다나 엔 자지 추세야 디비 선진이야 디르게 엔슈르가 요 말이시고 다 가지 요 말로
So as Geshe read from the extensive commentary on the guide and explained that karma or the natural law of karma is very complex and it has subtleties. And so in the Buddhist literatures, often we talk about how subtle aspect of the karma is regarded as what we call extremely hidden or concealed reality or phenomenon. Okay, so of course there are certain aspects of karma that we could understand more easily, relatively speaking, right? For example, as Geshe said, good karmas produce good results, bad karmas produce bad results. So that is not too subtle, extremely hidden thing. Those can be established through what we call the reasoning of reasoning of facts and evidence, so to speak, right? In Tibetan called Rikpa, or reasoning about the power of reality. But then subtle aspect of the karma, such as when you say, okay, when did you do that karma? What time? Under what circumstances? Now this karma has kind of popped up. Well, that is very subtle. So that kind of subtlety of the karma is an extremely hidden, concealed reality, and that could only be established through the reasoning of what we call Buddha's valid statements, right? Validity of Buddha's statements. And so as Geshe explained, that developing conviction in the natural law of karma and its functioning is a foundation of all our practice. When we don't have that conviction, then it's affecting all our other practice, isn't it? We're trying to do other practice, we really couldn't develop conviction in other practice. And this is because this is the foundation practice where we have to study it, we have to contemplate it, and do everything to be able to convince ourselves about the infallibility of the law of karma. Once we have that conviction, natural, not artificial one, so then our practice will really make all the difference. We will be very serious about how we conduct our lives and how we do our practice. Buddha himself talked about the importance of karma and its aspect in many sutras, and there is a citation of Samadhi Raja Sutra, the King of Concentration Sutras, in the extensive commentary, where it is said that even the planets like moon and the sun, and even this very firm rocky mountains and all of those things, one day they will all collapse. They will fall down. Yeah, and that happens. When we talk about how the universe will be destroyed at the end. Right at that time, right, these planets and these mountains and everything which seems so firm and existing, they will all collapse. But the law of karma never gets messed up in producing their results. Right, positive karmas will produce positive results, and negative karmas will produce negative results. And Buddha talked about that, So using those such statement, Buddha's valid statement, we develop conviction in the law of karma, as Geshe explained. And those of you who have received many Lamrim teachings on the stage of the path to enlightenment, the Tibetan term is Lamrim. Okay. And so in one sense, like we talked about three types of practitioners, right? We have the initial level practitioner or the small scope practitioners. We have the intermediate level practitioner or the middle scope practitioners. We have the advanced level practitioners, the advanced scope practitioners, Kibu Cheding Chungsum in Tibetan. In a sense, their practices are kind of contingent upon the understanding of the elaborations of the karma. But the initial level practitioners have very limited sudden understanding of the karma, and what they're really seeking in their next life is, I just want a good rebirth again. Okay? And so, but developing their conviction in that limited understanding of the karma, so they do their practice and they're able to get their result. Intermediate level practitioners, they are seeking nirvana, freedom from samsara for themselves. So their understanding of the karma is going to be much more extensive than the initial level practitioner, isn't it? So contingent upon that understanding and the conviction they develop, so they follow their practice, the path to liberation, and they get liberated. Then we have the advanced level practitioners whose understanding of karma is much greater than the understanding of karma of these other practitioners, and they are seeking Buddhahood, enlightenment for the sake of all beings. And so their practice is very much contingent upon their understanding of the karma and the conviction in the law of karma. So this is why this is a foundation practice. This is worth putting all our efforts to, isn't it? If we can develop conviction, the law of karma, then we take off, so to speak, in our other practices. If this is where we get stuck, we just have a very lip service to the karma, like I know it's important, and then, then all other practice is also like I know it is good practice. It's not going to take off, so to speak, right? This is why, all of us, we should take the study, contemplation, and developing conviction in the law of karma, developing strong expressions to follow it really seriously. And once this is where we make the difference, it'll make difference in our other practices too.
아까 깨라래 난가타네 사이 파릉신 파량ring 저서 파르스로 ring 현디 현업진이 이게 river ring 패드 타비시게 티베리 계속 빼다가 저와 시바 페바타 페바 다샤타부담 타비시 인장 장르디 초네스 런지 셔당 체마다 런지 셔당 체마다 베스 소소소 망라 대다 런지 셔당 만데신 무디메 수 헤타원에 르기슈슈나 야 케바인데 소문에 시바 강시 시바오 시바오시 시반데네 케바인 계속 쉬어도 좀 봐나 쉬어도 장기도 소나양 다들 랑셔바당 키즈지 초디 넘바니 집에 나는 장 타시인데스 시바 강시 케셈바 텐디 시바 히즈도 셰소스 어디래다 제라레 베 소주 레타보다 쇼바다 베타르 부시오리스 그데스 나가다 사히나시 자조 파루스르나시 샤노지 그 초나시 어디래 페다는데 테나기 페 지우 페바 레타보다 타베슈니베 바로 타르 부시오리스 링싱 예수 베타던 자와 시바 페바 다다 타베슈니자 장르디 초네스 어디 So chösa be den fa ya me su yu le nyam lan je so ji me shi chö da hi ya da nyam sa ka do de any kadum la de gar za chö de ji de ba ta ta re sia jo ro di ka ji ta de chösa di ga di shi ni ju do ma ge ne pe do ma ro o che da di si wa da che da jang rang bu shi bu re shi di mo re de ya yu chö da rong ji chö da ma de shi Medibe sui Kedava Rikishi Shuna, Tia Keva in this. That is a taxi shene. So Baji Church the Nasus Danga when it showed be someone to the Yabo Medux Lemon to that be Shazo Jovoreshas. But you know, did the Keva in his world. So be Hamo, the Hamo Ratu and the Sheto in the and this should I Keva in this world. Shiva kai Shiva o Shiva teni Shiva insi di ko Shiva san shagri yesa chöda tyuma na chöda jangye de song yena yang tadung jangye song yena tadung ram chöla Shiva de Shiva jidun yi sho di lomba ni Shiva nang ni jang Shiva indis ta su khal shia de yiwa she toda laneta de chöda jangye de pe chöl she to do Shiva indu shi de o te da Shiva nang Shiva lumbu doga de res da karsa tadung Shiva da sa kedi gi cho lomani Shiva nang ni jang ta shi indis somle Shiva kan yi kesa ba den Shiva shi jo dos that lumbu ga yi ga da do Shiva insan de ne dingo ne da lumbu doga de res o te shi
As Tesla read from the extensive commentary explained that I think there is a citation of Tsom, collection of miscellaneous discourses of Buddha. So it is said that I think in general, or generally speaking, that ordinary sentient beings, Dorjee and the Dharma, they are very far apart. The distance between the Dharma and ordinary sentient beings is huge. The distance as huge as the sky above and earth below. The distance is as huge as east and west, right? Why? Because now even the ordinary beings, they know something about the Dharma, but they might take of Dharma as something to be studied or talked about, but never thought of integrating it with one's own mind stream. So there is a separation between one's own mind stream and Dharma, right? And so this is where, I mean, the distance is quite big. As great Kadamba Geshes have believed to have said, that if you find that the gap between your mind and the Dharma is as huge as a horse can run in between the two, well, then, you know, that we are really, the Dharma is not going to benefit us, right? We are not practicing Dharma. And so it is very important for us individually or personally, to look at our own state of mind and condition, right, where we are. As is stated there in the collected miscellaneous discourses, that an individual who recognizes truthfully that really my mind and Dharma has not been together at all, isn't it? And there's a big difference. Now I really need to change myself. Such a recognition or realization actually qualifies that person to be Keba, expert. Okay? You are wise, maybe that's the better words in this context, right? On the other hand, when somebody says, I know a lot about Dharma, about the karma, right? Sharma, you did say Sharma, but, you know. But then you never follow it at all, right? It's just like something to be talked about. It's just something to be, you know, but still think that I'm the expert, Dharma expert, right? They said, you are the foolish, most stupidest person among the stupid people. You are the most childish among the childish sentient beings, because you assume you are expert, you know a lot of Dharma, but you never follow it at all, right? You never, so therefore you qualify to be the stupidest person on the earth. So these are the lessons for us to check with ourselves and where we stand and see that we don't have a big gap between our mind and the Dharma, as if a horse can run in between.
那连接了一切界的，天阳人一天的钱呢，光把得来，你浪迹现在他们没得么弄啊，全部国际的他们说一吧，那得到了，那把什么影响呗，我没讲完呢。日本人呢用的南极是早些个银本送给呢，连接了一些界呢，让都是最新些吧，现在可些行。听见人说的写不少，我是他的多人听一下，连着一些概念，那听见年龄一辈，连着年龄写的，年龄提升了，年龄做的吧，现在是我们的，我们的南极现在，他吧，他南开工呢，听把写出基本写出个是南开工现在，我的连着相关的些，没容易吧，开把国际的。他们说一把那是，得到了，那么什么一年比老没教呢？日本人连起用的那些早些把一把送别是，我到离这一见面呢，那日本人呢比那的开还是我要么的是，都离这了那几头么了，第四个了吧，送别。连这了一些概念，让他自己是吧，现在可以写进。第一年龄少的些把小我现在连这的别个，可是大一些可是大些不一般的，那个些不一般。我第这是呢，特别些呢，一直得了呀，被年龄着的，手提个零下的，年龄少的有些过来，我这是不是？
So Geshe explained that we must learn to regard developing conviction in the law of karma and following it accordingly as our main practice. Because as we talked about this is the foundation of all our practices. As we even talked about all kinds of paths and practices of the three yanas or the vehicles, the foundation of all such paths and practice is developing conviction in the law of karma. And so this is worth spending time and developing that. If we somehow don't consider that this is not a very profound practice, right? Then we are missing the point, really. As Geshe explained that as long as we don't develop conviction in the law of karma, really we are not going to be able to follow it seriously. That means even if we do any other practice, right, our practice is not necessarily going to be effective. And because Dhruva, the practice that we talk about, is embedded or grounded in this root practice, the foundation practice of developing conviction in the law of karma. And so therefore, we should, attach, great importance to the law of karma, developing conviction in it, and then following it.
我这个是写不小是，你把这担保我这一崩了，你这担保写这写吧，我当我呢都是认真说的，他了里边的大呢，小娃怎么个吧呢？有的偏不起，都是认真就我留出过来，他也不你们吃完呢。 你们吃完的，木的这木的人民人把它说白些，你别没到把我学白越弄啊，是吧？但上学生吧，现在的同的啥玩意儿？新鲜的你把它拿手机，没多精， 无是区别，对这那年明白的主要是都是送给少个也行动的越来越那脏呢是，看这个电影，真的讲大概他是把现在是。他是把现在如果女所年辈是，我觉得不过么说些吧的是，到底了本呢，他也被你们说完呢，没有给你们民族过，其实中间呢，中间给你们民族过，另些人这点也看起来你们民族过些吧呢。日本人被你们民族国进行的，城市是把城堡的新鲜机，是不是也是玩那不是小吧？有的那不是是不是也是玩那不是马上吧？有的一句话的，一些一句话，太多吧？呢，甚至贵昂住现金。你们没到过，甚至梦里你们没到过，这些你讲的，甚至你要叫得到的样严重给杀人那位，甚至得到他们得到10倍把人就是，那个东西分不清楚的老外少，做不少娘不做不少不做少，没多不少，没这么少。稍微没这么稍微些说，也我送的，老弟你给咱别告诉长巴当，多你的些我稍微是，我对不对？他的，你把这是个啥？嗯，你把电报俺爷一蹦噻，但我这个的，没别蹦，俺爷蹦噻，你看电表蹦噻的，头儿蹦噻的蹦儿，他的你把俺爷蹦噻的，俺爷蹦噻可是呢，哎，你什么叫忙不的？哎，你别。叫我别场面别操山新从这个这系统么是的呀，一兄弟啊的呀，这个头个的上的呀，八戒啊的个是，但俺姐本身呢的，代表本身的这个是，我这里的是这的吧是这的些我的些你，这多的票我是多这些的用我留出过来，他也比你们少给没弄的人可是。你们晓得没弄等，日本人把它稍微你们没道吧？我去呗，云南啊，是吧？但小时是吧？现一头的啥玩意儿？是不是你我那做也是没多久，我是去呗，对在那里面把它主要写都写送呗，是少个意思，就是他。你们晓得在过日子都看着就日记看着，你们过晓得说你们下午是干的呀，是干多我是吧？我的那意思我是啥？现在城市不叫我楼的上别深圳有东西这不是的，你叫我忙不被错啥个？我天天搞叫嘛的是，这个牵手就现在你写过来，我的是我是。现在你们晓得说考级，你们下了么子联系看个干头嘛是吧？我的那。每天小时什么都看这些呢，只是我把我马上是一点时间东西我认识我，这是个是吧？嗯，现在的原来那么早呢，看咱们的，现在就那个他先把钱呢，这个60年辈是俺家的不多么说的，现在原来他都是他们家那些个早呢。看咱们这个别人，他都你不出吧，保证保的不给他什么心医生，哦，就这个呀，你可是他们家小伙的时候，他看见这么女说两边，俺觉得吧，那我们说写不得是，到底你那边那啥，他也比你们说呢，他也不是特别是吧？你们说的没弄给你们没读过是，但你们现在在那他，不是。没有个年代没读过似的，每个人那些呢，不给。 Because the got to Marcia Jimra. Treasure to yet never meant to go. Was a linky that Kaji Duji Semi Mendugos. Here one. Rimini Mendugo, T. Hindi, Sanju Sebasibashi Muduba, the share. She Sims of Jasha, number Mazuba, Yodi Javadi, Yizi Javali, Te Dubani, Simji Kui, Gonzi Jenji, Nive Mendogo. Simji Mono, Nive Mendogo, T. Hindi, that the Simji Niva Javada, Yusongi, Saturday, Simji Tataji, Tene, she provide Juju. Dog the Meji, Pongo Shibu, the Long Show. 做不小，做不多小也小没多不小，没这不小，小没这不小，写说节吧送的是，老弟一个这边搞的长吧当，多一了写不小，是他的节吧的老弟呢，你是小是老弟要听那些呢，现在的多可能呢，我这里下也不大过来是。 可是看到一下，见着看这就有呢。哎，他现在他也都多少头呀？这个别，他们家都蛮多是电不写过的，是他电不写的，别刚呀这水干呢，这你妈想的说，没人的然后看着是那个刚好到我个下中国了哇，就那一叫吧的那么多，等我他们写完那些，哎，你刚开始还是新鲜把没什么么呀，但是这个叫吧也别刚开始。 哎，那叫我们别给把场面我说啥个，这个他别见忙活的要的，我见这个干么的些，哎，你说说别偷些那些个些呢，别这么年轻人，哪里打偷些我这些。
So Geshe-la's reading of or from the extensive commentary and explanation that pertains to the last two lines of the stanza 46. And the last two lines are, having undertaken the wholesome in the manner of Vajra Davaja, I should then proceed to acquaint myself with self-confidence. Okay? So as Geshe explained that, earlier we talked about the need to, cultivate or practice the four forces or the powers, right? We talk about the force of the power of aspiration and the force of the power of steadfastness or firmness, or the joy, or the rest or letting go. Remember those things? So here, the second one is called developing the power of tenba, firmness, steadfastness, or confidence, right? Sometimes we call it ngaya, pride, the positive kind of pride. And so as Geshe said, this is how the Bodhisattvas do it, that the Bodhisattvas, never let themselves down because, in terms of, keeping up with their confidence level. They don't think that, oh my gosh, right, the sentient beings are too many, countless, so I can't do this, right? The number or the numberlessness of sentient beings doesn't bog them down. Or they think like, oh my God, that's going to take 3 great countless eons or many eons, like that's too long. Like, no. Yeah, nothing really becomes an impediment, to the Bodhisattvas when it comes to developing that pride or the confidence or the firmness, steadfastness power there. Because they think that, I have the ability to benefit sentient beings. I have the ability to be able to become enlightened being for the sake of others. This is what I pledged. This is my promise. So I have the ability to fulfill my promise. It's not like I make promise, right? But I also have the ability to fulfill my promise no matter what comes on my way. So this is how Bodhisattvas develop their firmness, steadfastness, or the confidence level. The example given in that chapter on the Vajra Davaja is that that the sun, when it comes for the sun to come out, nothing can stop the sun from coming out, isn't it? Doesn't matter how tall the mountains are, how thick the forests are, whatever it is, right? Nothing is able to stop the sun from shining. So like that, Bodhisattvas know it's not easy to be able to stay on the path, to be able to work for the well-being of sentient beings. That's a lot of challenges, It's going to be very long, it may, eon. And there are innumerable sentient beings. They all know that, but none of these things become a factor. That just like that, towering mountains and the thick forests do not become an obstacle for the sun to come out, shine. In the same way, none of these factors become an impediment and obstacles for the Bodhisattva. They don't let them, as a matter of fact, to tarnish their confidence level. And so as a matter of fact, Bodhisattvas, I think the details are given in the Shiksha Samukta, compendium of Bodhisattva trainings by Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva, where Bodhisattva is almost like telling themselves, like, come on, bring it on me. I can take upon my shoulder the whole suffering of the sentient beings, right? However great that is, let it be. Come on, me. Right? And however long it takes for me to be able to fulfill my promise, so be it. Just bring it on. So this is the kind of, the mentality Bodhisattvas cultivate, and this is how they're able to boost up their spirit or the, confidence level. No. On top of page 95, stanza 47 reads, first of all, I should examine well what is to be done to see whether I can pursue it or cannot undertake it. If I'm unable, it is best to leave it. But once I have started, I must not withdraw, unquote. So this is what the Bodhisattvas tell themselves. Before they decide to do anything, they're going to investigate, examine, is this something beneficial? Is this something I can do or not, right? Complete it. And they realize that this is something they can do, then they will initiate whatever that practice or action is, and then make sure that they're able to complete their action or the practice. But for some reason, they think that at the moment, I am not ready for that, I cannot do it. then they think the best is not to initiate or start it, rather than start it and then you drop the ball, right, in the middle of the thing and you never complete it, right? That's not cool, Bodhisattva's thing. So as Geshe said, I think somewhere in a sutra it said that even in terms of taking precepts or the vows, right? Sometimes we talk about the four root vows or whatever, right? So we'll say, I mean, how many can I really promise and keep it? And if somebody thinks that I can take all four and I'll keep it, right? Then they will make the decision. If not, I can only do one at the moment. Then I might add another one later. I have my capacity, right? That is the proper way to do it. Not like make a big promise first, and then when it comes to action, it's a zippo, right? Nothing is going on. That's not what the Bodhisattvas do. They are very careful to make a pledge or a promise. Once they make a pledge or promise, it's like do or die. They will complete it. They're not going to be half-hearted about that. And one of the reasons is that, as we said, they do the thorough investigation, examination first, and then they develop that kind of a confidence, conviction in that this is something I can do, this is what I must do. And so because of that, that pushes them to be able to complete the task, And if they are not that feeling confident, then they may as very well not start it in the first place.
Shebataru, Duba Nuba Menana Tangbane, Mazaba Nisho Inji, Shawa Kansamni, Tell Shubana, Tarmashibe, Pagaso, Tamshibe Tontele, Namayan, Doga Meshao. Tia Shawa de la Mashuni, Pagaso Toale, Tangbane, Mazaba Cho Indi, Tela, Tela, Tamjibe, Tamje Yeba. Tamze nyambi yeba minzu shiros. What is it? Said the Shawaka Tambo the Tashi, the drop to the so drop to the Chego, drop to the man Tamoko Tamaji Yaris. Tamjin in Domanata in the Matobaji, the Tamjashi, Yevasik, Suvalego, said the Tamoko Yatamajin Yaris. So the Tamsa Tani. Any immediately attached to Shagoris, or did that Naji post the Roto Marisi puzzle? The time was going to be puzzle Nyamja, what tips doya tonal, said the Simjukia tonal, Tiredo, this is the Nizimi Shawat Tani touch of Shagoris, Doctor.
So the bottom line is this, that Bodhisattvas, in the beginning, they take their time to examine well whatever action they thought they might undertake it. And then they are convinced that that's the action, they can do it. Then they will make a promise or the pledge, and then they will do everything to be able to complete the action or the task. And in the beginning, if they think this is not, I'm ready, right? At the moment, at least, I don't think I have the ability to do this or any other reason, then they know the best thing is not to start it at all. Not that you will kind of engage in the action half-heartedly, and then somewhere you don't complete it. So this is like you make a promise and you break the promise, isn't it? So breaking a promise is not Geshe didn't say that. It involves negativity, right? Because you broke the promise. Nobody really obligated you to make a promise, right? So in the beginning, you know that I can't do it, then don't promise. Then, no issue there, isn't it? But in the beginning, without checking everything, make a big promise, and then somewhere I said, I can't do it. Now we are breaking a promise, so then that becomes detrimental, right? That is a negativity, and Bodhisattvas know that. They know how to prevent that. And this is how, the bottom line is Bodhisattvas, through examining well in the beginning, so they develop that steadfastness or the firmness with regard to action. Something I can do, I have the ability to do, I must do, they do it. Then they will do it all the way to the end. But it is something I'm not ready yet, and I don't have to do it, whatever, then Bodhisattvas think the best is not to initiate or start that.
zamne tamjawa parmator la parmator torwala yewaje de zender shawati zamne ne tele sherloba na yewa hindi yang di shiba judige zamne dogba te kombe lava kelang bala soba nyamji de tamjewa nyambe kibu shindi zender digba pewada Jawa Shede is a young digbati, Nami Jibu Dungi Pewa Joatam, Shawa Namala, Shuma Shima, Chizabi is Gary Shawa Shambata, Nyama Joam, Chu Nyama Joam, Chu Sawa Vina, Sawana, Member Joatam, Marzamne, say Tori, Lady, debut, Lady, debut to Jani.现在人人都过是日本人面不着了，讲个这我今年个人面不对吧？他们现在的你娃开始，他们现在的你娃开始是咋么的开始是呢？시바주도 샤와 줄베 소도 샤와 카데 잡나 베 타르미제 류드라 먼저 난다 남이就是시바주도서 뇽아주도서 저러 뭐 시바주도서 디베 커뮤니티 시바주도 리베 샤와 카르자 나이네 베 타르마지면 고tam지야 타모지니 가도 어디신 샤와 타르마지 브로리스 에네 기와 tam제 조샤와이나 디 디부도를 총을 양릉들 어디에 요리셔도 짬니야 도와들 애니 теле야 가서 유디 디부티게 애니 샤와 가르쳐 소도 라마도 가르쳐나 애니 소야 탈미신 컨셉에 유르바바 장자 지신 제와 세라 뭐부터 코코베 신도 셔리니 중시월 세서 짬니 베 탈시마시아디 세다 계셔모리 소디 있다.
Stanza 48 reads, if I do, meaning if I break my promise, then this habit will continue in other lives, and negativity and misery will increase. Also, other actions done at the time of its fruition will be weak and will not be accomplished. So Geshe-la's explanation pertains to that. And so Bodhisattvas, know that, they don't want to kind of start an action half-heartedly and then not complete their task, because they know this can have detrimental effects. Why they don't do that? Why they take time to investigate in the beginning, and if they know they can do it, then they do it all the way through. If they can't do it, they don't make any promise, because breaking a promise or not fulfilling the task that has been initiated can have a detrimental effect on one's life in the futures. And remember that when we talk about karma, that we have results according to the habituated actions, right? So when we develop that habit of starting one, not finishing it, then starting another one, not finishing it, just kind of starting too many things and never getting things much being done, so that becomes a negative habit. It gets carried over. So in our future lives, this can also mean that we might start too many things and we hardly accomplish or complete those tasks. So we don't want that kind of a habituated action effect into the future lives. And not only that when we keep habituating in such a negative way, then even in the future, if we start something, it seems to take a much longer time to be able to fulfill the task or the goal. And then even when we try to engage in some action, like even the positive one, it seems to be quite weakened action. So all of these detrimental effects happen, and this is why Bodhisattvas know that, and so they don't want to make a false promise or drop the ball in between, once they started something.
你把其他的些吧，你他多的吧，你们的你有啥的，咱们多对你是他多的吧的，你说是些吧，其他些吧，但你把其他些吧呢，多的吧，说是你把些吧，他们呢，来当说的是得到的，他们家话的，他马上把，他什么对不？我这那么说我们下了，很多的药了，是这位。就把来就我这当是，帮着你们上班对吧？你们别我这，现在小孩子吧等，帮着你们什么，说那个女生样吧，你别我这带是，什么他那是，什么没吧？人都见的是，我这带不上我是，他的呀，他什么心呢？他们这块是的是我的。你把其他的说你düğüdün dörtlemeden sonra gibi şey tangbını le tang so de tedere tam javati tarşima döve sonra tarşima langne ta döve ngaje ngaje dangsı tarşima şey olsam o tinde sa ngaje sigta poza nyumu ba şoba döve nyumu be ngaje o 这样就把理解俺解释，有没有俺解印象？现在小孩子吧，等帮着你们学吧说，那个女说娘吧是，女边俺解的是，送不他了是，学吧没吧，人都见呢，俺解的嘛少我是，我觉得俺解送的呀多，现在小孩子就吧理解俺解释。这个现在他的为那个的个中国人都头人是。这俺姐姐啊，这些，包括你们吧，小吧对不对？那你们吧的中嘛，我现在呗，碰着的另外听说的，哎，你们吧什么样的什么样比俺姐的，你们比俺姐是我的，我的是。但很多的小孩子这也是就把理解俺姐是，但甚至他就头的别的生意我们这样的那别。给吧，看这的就干练着就弄个生的，所以这个人生啊，这我的这个我结果你们我还是现在小孩子吧，他帮着你们小吧那个女那个女说娘吧是，你问我这什么大了是，小吧没吧，人都见呢是，我这点不少我啥，我的大考试和大家别个。干练着还是每天说见干练着不，就是我，制作人我干练起来之后，可是就是那么着，可是是不用那了，这干了当然些呢，那边弄什么么这些呢？他的我这那么什么的一个概念，我的中国人是我说，连进我一下都，我中头人是啊，这些，你们我这边。农业这个早是的，这什么熊工都是的，这我这这些。근데해도이게 그래서 심지어 동시에 소리 대학을 연구해서 내가 제시 내가 지 섬제고 그래서 어디서는 다시 마시고 그래서 거기 가서 이제 당자도 다시 마시고 야 차진을 되게 섬세고다.
Stanza 49 reads, self-confidence should be applied to wholesome actions, the overcoming of disturbing conceptions, and my ability to do this, thinking I alone shall do it, is the self-confidence of action, unquote. So earlier, sort of in a highlight form, we talked about the importance of the self-confidence or the steadfastness, firmness, and now kind of going a little more into the details. So, and so as Geshe explained, so bodhisattvas in the beginning, they take time to examine whether or not they should undertake X, Y, Z, and they think that yes, they can, then they will initiate X, Y, Z, and they will make sure that they will complete the XYZ actions. But if you think that I cannot do XYZ, I can only do X or not Y, then they will not start the Y because they don't want to get into the habit of starting too many things and never getting them done, right? All of those things. So once they decide that they will undertake this action, then what helps them to be able to complete that task are the following three types of self-confidence or pride. Sometimes we use the word. The Tibetan word is ngakya, literally means pride, but it's also translated as confidence. And so the three confidence are leji ngakya, literally is action-oriented self-confidence. I translate it that way. That means Bodhisattvas know that once they know they can do it, they said, I'm going to do this for the benefit of all other sentient beings. So this is like action-oriented, self-confidence level. So that helps them to finish their task. Another self-confidence or the pride they have, of course, it's got a paradox. It's called nyomabe ngakya, deluded pride. But it's not a deluded pride as in the egomaniac thing, but it's the pride, as a matter of fact, to overcome delusions. It's the self-confidence to overcome afflictive emotions. Yeah, so they have that kind. They said, what? The why, what is it? What are the things that I must not do or get rid of, abandon? So they develop the confidence with regard to abandoning those negativities, afflictive emotions. Then the third confidence or the pride they develop is called nyube ngakya, ability-based confidence, right? Ability-based confidence, literally. And so that says, not only that, that the action I'm going to undertake is going to be beneficial for everybody else, sentient beings, and I can do it, that confidence. And I won't let any afflictive emotions to be a stumble block on the way. I will face them off. I won't let, because it takes too long, eon, so be it. And whatever other challenges I face, I'm not going to be bogged down by the challenges and obstacles. I will stand firmly. There's that pride to tackle the afflictive emotions challenges. And then I have the ability, right? I have the ability to carry out that task to the finishing line. And so these different types of confidence level, three we just talked about, really empower them, help them to be able to finish off the action. So we are going to stop there today, and we welcome your questions. Yes. Please use the mic so that the invisible beings can listen to. Yeah, but there's something there? Okay.
Is there a teaching about the actual mechanics of karma? So, for example, how does it work that some actions with a motivation, sorry, I'm just trying to see if I could consolidate this. How does it work that some actions I do with a motivation get recorded in my mental continuum, and then much later, in a future life, it gets activated and becomes a situation and experience that affects my future self? How does this imprint or record happen?
Are there any teaching? You mean there any books to read? Is that what I mean? Or is there anybody giving teaching on that?
I think they're asking about texts they could reference, and then also asking about the mechanics themselves, if that's possible.
자제톤의 컨디션에 지금 로와게 다단다 간도 랜데 고르선데 로와게 시대 칼코나 티와타인 디다 랜데 기 갈소고르케 레지체 디기 박자 규된샤 박자 디 갈소고르다케 미제 로와게 디부치에 저로와 딘데 그 남샤셰기 슝으로 로와게 딘데 가로 요레스타 페제로 쓰고 로와게 and then Tanda King, Ben Deshe Chairman, and Parangi, the Kulon chicken on the ledge chamber again. Lady Paksa, this was student Shago or again. And to Karocheli, a Paksa, the Takarikin, Karoj line in the again. And the dinner tanchi go late in younger was again. But did Deshe Curonas, Deshe and the Shung law in a career.
Shung the Linde got a Masha on your Zula Yorwa.
No.
Zuen on your start, Zuen, Linde was the way. The most Zuet, Womba Ko said, Womba Kundu said, the woman Zu said, but they got a Linde go no Shedari, that got Junior.
No, sir.
But they did. So that lady, Thomas, she did a Lamako, they shivered out doing the Meza in the Copaza says, she lay go.
No.
But God said, tell me, I just Shima me, I Joe Mamuka me, Lekorang, became Chemadition, go late the sun, even didn't say, Yedekayama, Lekorang, top shooting rotation. Lama said, they'll tongue you means, says Yorwa.
No.
That tell her, Jenny, you said, you said, there is relation, Chimaris me, I said. That didn't buy. Didn't make it said in assuming it is less some less healing you less some sugar.
Bloody.
What is
the Paksa and the Paksa did the King Jig that 10 with Paksa, the
the new mood over the Sheda share over the mother sound data till should lose me. You could someone called you had a paint over.
No.
See the should lose a good you might trade the Gangora.
No,
So lady me like Pasajo Shire Penguin till a certain new mood in the year Mama.
So the text Geshe mentioned, of course, the law of karma is talked about in many Buddhist literature texts. One of the primary texts is called Treasury of Knowledge, Abhidhamma Kosha, right? Zue in Tibetan. And then related, there is Abhidhamma Samukcha, compendium of Treasury of Knowledge, So you will find a lot of explanations and the mechanics of the process, all of those there. But what Geshe explained is this, that as he said before, when we do a karma or an action, it is not necessarily going to bring the result right here and now, right? And so whatever action, karma we do, it deposits its imprints or the latencies on the mind, okay? And then, depending upon time and circumstances, that latency get activated by different factors. Sometimes it's the afflicted emotions themselves, and then they ripen. So this is why, we talked about another broad category of experience of karma is that, there are certain karmas that could ripen in this lifetime. We call it the results of the karma that you yourself can witness with your naked eyes, so to speak. Right? These are very powerful karmas. Good and bad, they can ripen here and now, right? In this lifetime. Then there is there are some karmas that we will only experience in our next rebirth. They are not going to ripen here. And then there are karmas which ripen in successive lifetimes. So that means it may take few lifetimes or even much longer time, right? So it depends upon the intensity of the karma, right? How strongly delusion, motivating factor is, all of those things. And so with the passage of time, the imprint get activated by different circumstances, different delusions, different age factors, and this is how karma ripens and we experience them. So this is like the example Geshe gave about how we know that in order to cultivate a crop, the real thing that brings up the crop is the seed, right? Without seed, nothing grows. But the seed alone don't grow, right? They have to be activated by the other factors, like put them in a fertile soil and they put some water, put some manure or fertilizers, wait for this right season. All of these conditioning factors can, so to speak, activate the seed and the seed germinates, right? It's a process. So like that, our karma works in the same way. We do a karma, it leaves its imprint on the mind, and then depending upon different circumstances and time factor, they get activated, and then we experience the result. Okay. She had a hand up for yes.
Thank you. I'm wondering who determines what is a bad action, because the person doing it in that moment may have good intentions or consider the outcome is beneficial to others. So how does one determine one is
The good and bad action.
engaged in bad karma? Yeah, and who determines that?
Sure.
Yeah.
뭐라 간디 쉐디 디슈고 겐 다간도 레 상엔 시게 로바겐 레 약도 레 약도 세간데 수타 제거 레사 로바겐 소생년에 꿀론 약고지 제 로바겐 레지 제 제나 아니 디 도스 약고 차로 레 디메나 레 상엔 세죠 로바겐 레 도와 레 냠바 세간데 다가 아니 코 냠바데 칸데 사고 디 수타 제거 그래서 다디 되죠
내 상에서 다지 뭐 꿀롱 주 꿀롱다 조와다 강가라야 스타야로 어디 가서 주고 뒤고 세대는 조와시디에 뭐뭐지 소 용거야지 레모던지 소그래 들이 이렇게 두고 말아
이네 다 상엔 세데 칸데 시와
상에서 다 거기 그 레디 셴 디줄이야 소소 대화대야 지금 속도를 그리는 내 야지 다디 셴 자측도로 먼저 잡는 세들 소 잡는 두자스는 거 니부 두자면 미히다 메라다 무슨 두고로 어 진짜 소리 지금 니부 두자요 지금 들 미게와 시고라 그렇지나
So Geshe said, usually how we differentiate, between good action, bad action, or positive or negative action, the karma, punya and apunya karma, is, what kind of a result is likely to produce, right? And let's say by doing certain action, if you think this is if it brings it brings positive result, then we said that is a positive action. If it brings negative result, then we said that's a bad action or negative action. The example Geshe given is that sometimes we can kind of feel that, like if you are going to insult someone, well, that's a bad action, negative, isn't it? That's going to disturb somebody's mind, and then you will get tons of things back too, right? Reactions there. So this is one way, the differentiating. But then the other ways to think, it depends upon like action, what kind of a motivation, right? What kind of motivation precedes the action? Sometimes we have a deep underlying motivation. We have a timely motivation in the situational motivation, right? And then the action itself, how it is done, right? The action itself. And then how the action is completed. There's a conclusion. So action has a beginning, middle, and end, so to speak. So there's so many factors to take into account.
Thank you. Thank you for teaching today. I was wondering if he can explain perhaps the relationship between the 8 worldly dharmas and the creation of karma. It feels like so much suffering comes from just having a motivation of the 8 worldly dharmas. So I was wondering if he could explain the relationship between the two. Thank you.
Quran condition the thing ki sungje Quran pembo shung sarwage. Then again, details can out to reverse that until the jumbling now so the kange mango switch again. Jignen shoye the data is the rest again. So the Jignen shoye the Kulon sediment again. The one gets ever led the kange mango chicken or the call again test jackson on to reverse for that. No, Jignen shoye.
That Jignen shoye, Jason Miguel ready to go. So Jignen shoye, Marie was that Jignen shoye said there. Because judicial death method, because they are also, but there the camera, the Megash, and Karsa. So give it, because it is to me, they are hit out, may I judicial years you were.
No.
That's only a Karsa, so Jimar and I also the Kojimata city level to get out of it. So me go share did it on any question did
No.
that could make Joe to be in the call prepared to that Jerry. 그 지대시기 되고 말봐.
No.
어디서 지대시기 돼서는 그 기와래도 말이지. 지대시기 말이나 지대시기 세트에 다소 년다 저 턱을 미가워시아도 거기 들어지 야, 게 장하여라.
No.
어디래?
So Geshe said that the 8 worldly concerns, or the what we call Jigten Shige in Tibetan, anything we do with these 8 worldly concerns or motivated by them, they become negative actions. Yeah. And so when you look at the 8 worldly concerns, they can be categorized into 2 broad categories. There's something what we call liking certain things, or disliking or displeasure, right? For example, that we get, how should you say, cover, right? We feel very excited when somebody praises us. And we feel very kind of upset or displeased when somebody is, bad mouth about us, right? And so these are, in ordinary sense, we know how this can be very troublesome. But even as a practitioner, we have to watch them out. Let's say, if we are practicing generosity, Dan Paramita, right? And we do it with the motivation that, okay, then maybe people think I'm a very generous person, right? My kind of a fame will go up. I'm a generous benefactor here, right? Well, now the generosity got marred by the worldly concern, isn't it? But if you do it with a really positive motivation that you want to help somebody who needs the help, right? Give. And there's no other strings attached to it, then that becomes positive action. But if you practice is, okay, I want to impress my friend thinks that I'm very good now, I donated some money here, then it becomes worldly concern, right? So this is how we want to watch out, that our actions and practices are not somehow contaminated or marred by the worldly concerns.
There are a few more questions online. The first question is, when is negative karma truly purified? So this person gives examples like maybe after we suffer, or after we repent, or after we feel compassion. But the question is, when is negative karma truly purified?
Sure. Le ngemba sabar wage le ngemba di taba se chorwa le taba se di kandes haku gre sar wage pena ta korang se chena le korang naming di nyang sa bena le ti ta ru gro sar wage di me ngas le ngemba taba se di rwa kandes haku gre sa ta le ngemba chem ko ta ma ta wa di
le sa sigo
le ngemba taba sang ma sa le ngemba sa na ta ro sar wage sang ma Leng ba meba san sang ma cha ready. Say na leng ba say sa ha kwa so wa ge. Odi.
Leng ba say sa de da de leng ba si sa de ko nyen bo do shi ko de sha ba shi na ne. Ko ta de da de me bo ji da di wa ta ta mo bo shi ro di wa ta ta kha shi ne yi ja da ya do ja bu do ya do da de ji da dong yi go na zo mo bo yo ro di kha shi ne. Odi 여보시 네 미소나 이거 다 도그리스
이렇게 다 버튼 하고 월
다 해야 돼
하고 맨날 년부터 없이 챘는 와게 당분은 이디바디 다 다시 년부터 없이 챘는 하고 오게 네 하고를 거야 그래서 그게
대 가게 하고 돼 미지 요말 다시나 대 가져래 그 소소 토나 니는 무슨 다 해서 되게 남자 들은도와 이 토나서 영화요 이 가가 영화 개발돼요 말에
이네다 뭐 야구 채나 다
여기서 다 주거라.
Yeah, that's good. I'm trying to get a straight answer if there's possible, right? These are complex matters. Geshe said, as you yourself said, of course, one of the ways is, if we have done a negativity, it ripens already upon us, then that negativity is completed or purified or done, right? That we know. But the other one is we said through purification practice, right? And we can use many different antidotes, like some even you mentioned it, like developing compassion or meditating emptiness, or we said applying the 4 powerful antidotes, right? We purify. Then I said the question is, how do we know it's purified, right? Geshe said, generally it's hard to know, but it's not like we don't know at all, because there are cases, some say sometimes you get signs in your dream that certain of your negativity got purified, But not always the case, right? But if you do your purification practice well, it purifies, right? Yeah.
And a follow-up to the mechanics question.
Yes.
Is it possible to have direct perception of how imprints are deposited on the mind in order to gain conviction of karma?
되게 레기 박자샤고 주와당의 저러와게 디시그도 소소 레지 체베이나 디 박자의 규定的想法的소소 무슨 게 용외기로와게 학과에서 여러배사 다디 학과에나 아니 이제 이거로와게 거데 디 무슨 게 직도토에서 여러 말서 박자서 샤이
That's the number lady sayo de los años de Kagura. That's a hammer Sasha de Mongoyora.
다이네마다 디케야 똑바 야sel레면 근데 킨투고
Oh, they have good to you.
Geshe says that for ordinary people like us, right, it's really hard to know, right, that we can directly, as if we can see, okay, I did this karma and it is depositing or deposited thing, you know. But then, I mean, as you grow in your spirituality, reach certain level of realization, then you may be able to, right, understand that.
Thank you, Geshe. Okay, so I think two things come up in my mind. One, I think one of the challenges is also about the conviction that of future lives and previous lives. I think, as a Westerner, of course, we don't come across that, or we don't,
Right.
until you come into practices like the Dharma. So that's one thing, right? I mean, does that really exist? Because there are things, I guess, even in our lives, you can understand that things, some stuff, like you said, gross levels of karmic actions, right? You can see if I do one good thing, you'll see it immediately, right? It'll happen. But but there are other times when you just feel things happen at random, but some things are, but as far as what's being taught here is that things don't happen at random. It may have happened because of something that you did at a previous life, right? So I think that's the other conviction. I mean, that's the other challenge, that you still see. I mean, you can see certain things that are coming up because direct, from positive actions, positive results, negative actions, negative results. But most of the time, it just feels like things are coming at random. I don't know if Geshe can comment on that.
코로나 컨디션 디스고를 켄다 먼저 렌델이야 아니 서머탄이 이체니고 이체니베이나 아니 dimbal레는 다 렌데 야부 지송식을 라버와게 디스디간이야 다 학바도 코나서 누브조버기 나를 살롱 체기 미드저와게
La.
누브조베 미드저 누브조베 되게 그래서 렌데가 남샤 망고십이 되게 손들고 개와 녀마다 개와 치막식을 와게 녀마 직 체산 단다 역도 니년 거스 다 단다 체비데 슈마 마음 받는 년 그래서 와게 저 개와 같이 당보 알레 유메데 시두도 요마 와게 저이 강에 좀 보십시오 와게 레젤 이제 녀 버 개와 녀마 저게 켈리기로 와게 어쨌든 망체지 딱 잠잠당 가라서 이렇게 단다 내가 야고 체면 남산 리브 야고 차들 두자 체면 남산 대부분 예반 양아들 통고요 어와게 이네 망고 시비지 도스 때 따브러지 따방이 용대로 와게 대방이 용대로 와게 상해 간가 근데 다들 낭배시도 개왕에마 제베 되게 리브르고 와게 저리 삼로 땅다를 가르쳐네 레라를 스텐데 양이 대세시 나로 나투나 나로 나스고 저
알레 대화기 대 영어 가가 용세 대 가가 때 같이 가야 대화를 야, 때 유시감이 대화 용사한테 가고 왔다.
다이네 개왕 같이 때 데네 렌데 데이터 이제 가고 싶어서
다 디네 배 다나 멘데버지 다 건데 그게 디나야 네다도 메라 뭐버지로. 세다 디네다 메라 디게 자 유럽이 가니야 제유럽 세서나 아니 예마 이게 소리 가르쳐 디네질 또야라면 힘도 그 차라 개발도 가대 연구해서 해둬야 말아.
맞아. 다디긴 되게 이제 제발을 제마도 지금 제스게 말다. 산역 송을 때
이게 저거 거 말이거든. 모두 집어서 건도 가게 거 리뷰 봐는 龙没过去谁也有是吧？
기왕에만
我
모두
我
저
你妈这要么的，这个拆掉了呀，
알롱롱롱
同学的毛不有是吧？ 我天天我从来的我是从头天天没得我都几把个把，那我这几把个把没得的龙个几把龙个那呀对不对？就我天天是把什么事情做过的？
So Geshe has, said something, maybe this will answer your question, or maybe not. What he said is that, yeah, what seems like things happening at random from our perspective is really not really, is related to what ourselves have done, right? We said in the past, or, so it's not something happening without causes and conditions, right, randomly. It's not like that. It may seem to us at times. But as you said before, of course, you frame it in the sense in the West, how the law of karma we talk about related to the life before and life after, which is really a very concealed phenomenon for us, isn't it? Something experiencing now, we said it's due to something you did in a past life, and what we do now will affect in the future life. So this is right, the challenge problem we all have. So Geshe said, with regard to the karmas and experience in this lifetime, sometimes, by using what we call inferential reasoning, valid cognition, we get some sense of what's happening in this life, isn't it? Right? Something good happening in your life, bad. We said you can trace back what you did in this lifetime. You can say, aha, that's likely, right? The things I did before, that's impacting my life here. So that doesn't require, depending upon Buddha's valid statements, isn't it? Through inferential reasoning, we are able to trace back, right? What I did in my life previous, in the past, and now this is what's impacting my life. So there is something we can understand it. But with regard to what we said happened in the past life, right, that's impacting us. So now that is the thing we call it extremely hidden reality, and we only can dependent upon Buddha's omniscient valid statement, right? None of us are able to kind of go back in our past life and remember that. So because Buddha, talked about it, so we use that reasoning to develop a conviction in, what we did in the past life impacting here, what we will do here will impact our future lives. So it's contingent upon Buddha's what we call valid statements. Hopefully, yeah.
More question, sorry. Is karma something that we experience moment to moment, like moment to moment? Because sometimes when we, like even now, like these teachings on karma, it feels like they happen not moment to moment, but like at random times, like today is good day, good karma, tomorrow's bad day. It's like these experiences are like they don't happen moment to moment. It's like it happened Tuesday, it happens tomorrow, so the question is like, does karma, is it something that we experience
every moment?
Every moment.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
那그런 그 무튼 빨리 쉬어야 될 것도 레세 저러하게 레세디 가르쳐 그래. ngar se sawa degi debu tanda nyong wata tanda cheba de ma wa chugo mam charwage tanda ngado de diring zom jige sungjol zom de yorwage de shibe ngane da bet kichi rede la rwage le segen di kochik sa de bada legi da nam sha ro de do de go khande res ko
어 되네 이제
no
저 묘지를 내 마음 사죠 되네 그 레사 성도 동시에 저거 레 사자도
no
다 시자 상황에는 양거 삼로다 아니 룽아 샤 동시 강가 시자 상황에 레선데 맞도 지dan 거 지금 사을 시도 마사 사 마시세요 레서 가지고 용되고 왔다
so Geshe said if we think in terms of what we call full-fledged karmic action, right? Now that requires beginning, middle, and right of all of those things. So that may not be every moment happening necessarily, but otherwise, if you only think in terms of karma acts, this activity happening, then it could be happening every moment, right? If you think about something, this one moment, that is already a karma, right? We are not saying it's a full-fledged karma, right? So every moment, it looks like there's a creation of a karma. But if a full-fledged karma, then we said it requires some time, right? Sometimes we have to do something, complete the action, conclude the action. Then that's a little different. Does that make sense? Yeah. One more question, I believe. We have 2 minutes. If anybody, no, okay. Well, then I have announcements to make or something. You have? No. Okay. First, I have to inform Geshe. Can the Seda Shue's again? I have to double check first, sorry. It's April 12th, Latin Rinpoche's anniversary. Okay. 진짜 10월 달에 중일이야 사파산 로하게 겹치 라틴 rinpoche 공조 계기도 하게 먼저 양 초시표로 하게 드네 진짜 10월 달에 24지 사님들 송전 매버체로 하게 수전 이발이야 빠지기 당주시에 임하게 this year. So I have 2 announcements to make. One I made last time. It's more like re-announcing. The one is new. April 12th is the Parinirvana anniversary of His Most Eminence late Latin Rinpoche. So we will do a talk offering here, 7:30. I was told it's Friday. Okay, April 12th. We will do a talk offering to observe the anniversary. And then April 21st, that's a Sunday, and we will not have regular teaching in the morning, but those who have, received the solitary Yamantaka empowerment and done the standard retreat, so we will do the self-empowerment at 2. Yeah. So April 21st at 2 begins the self-initiation empowerment of Yamantaka practice. So do I have any other announcements somewhere? No, I don't think so yet. So we'll do the prayer, the page color booklet. Page 3. Lord Gyeltsen, Udon, Devatin, Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen, Mianba Xin, Denba Jingla, Guangdou Teacher, Tangyan Shogun Jiala, Sowan De, page 5. Mawan Dame, Gunjian Dongwa De, Kandi Jongso, Nida, Sezer, Jamgun Jawa, Niwa Yapse, Tangsun Tenzin, Mabe, Shiva. Tenzin Dorjee, Yingguan Zebe, Xie Nigun Changzhu, Tendu, Longdao Tamzhi, Bebe, Beiyun, Geshe Gyeltsen, Gundo, Shabden, Pesang, Guangda, Shizi, Zangbe, Yongzhou, Yuri, Tobe, Yaki, Longri, Dejin, Nubu, Benten, Tubden, Pangri, Dabo, Shabden, Dona, Kongmen, Zeba, Namda, Gun, Tenda, Robe, Pende, Jube, Gundo, Jumi, Shebe, Geshe Dorjee, Dendo, Shabden, Shu, Jizhi, Lame, Tugde, Melamda, Geshe Dorjee, Dendang, Zame, Chozhong, Tudo, Chido, Domba, Chida, Membe, Dungun, Lundo, Shu, page 9. Ramjan Shingen, Gombo, Zeba, Men, Zodo, Namje, Keyun, Zhema, Su, Chozo, Seye, Lazo, Tamje, Daden, Mishi, Chogi, Mojo, Tubden, Jidang, Jawa Yi, Shiro, Denba, Zimbe, Beiyun, Tade, Duja, Jongge, Xinyan, Zhu, Yangzhui, Ninje, Hongbo, Jiden, Sumge, Chana, Bianmin, Denbe, Zawa, Soso, Talba, Namda, Chudin, Yangda, Langba Yi, Losang, Yangden, Bedo, Shabden, Dezhong, Gyeltsen, Nonzin, Yangbe, Samzhou, Namzhe, Sangzin, Junbe, Gomzhong, Xela, Songzhou, Debu, Denbe, Ngada, Qinbo, Shabden, Chebe, Dongwa, Gowa, Zhenbe, Rilang, Ziyu, Bongzha, Zhenbe, Dunden, Leshe, Zhangzha, Tidu, Xinyin, Qinbo, Shabden, Shu, Tebe, Langdu, Guxin, Zeda, Zhenbe, Tara, Nizo, Sangben, Dija, Rimo, Yixin, Sumden, Xinyin, Qinbo, Pesang, Zhulang, Jabe, Dende, Minzhong, Daji, Zangmen, Xijin, Labjin, Didin, Dendu, Beshawa, Zenden, Xinyin, Qinbo, Shozhong, Jawa, Senji, Xinla, Duden, Damjin, Songben, Daja, Lasam, Dabe, Denbe, 제다 멤베든 른도 조 창조 semjo rinpoche maje bana yeju jeba nyamba meba yang hone hon ebara jo tongni tawa rinpoche maje bana yeju jeba nyamba meba hone hondo pebara jo sa shi bejin joche medo zhang rira lingshi ninde genba de 上界信徒灭的如果能大人了，这把说抗日拉为扩为新港的偏当的话，马来中为现在是往定金角度，下边7.8度天就节一档过入了呢。大呀面家我更多养大老忙的，这边世界别了王姐姐，啥的南界云的，不做，老姐让领我有。